Hello, Ross and fourth graders. Today we're going to do some work together. We're going to work on shading in fractional parts on tape diagrams. So what I need you to do is please go and get a pencil. You'll need a shading tool. I'm going to use a highlighter because it shows up nicely when I'm teaching. So pause and go get ready to do some shading. Okay, now that you're back, I'm going to write down a few fractions, and I want you to go ahead and draw them on same size holes. We'll do the first one together. Then the first one's going to be pretty easy. So number one, I'm going to ask you to draw 1/2 on a tape diagram. So I know that I'm going to have to partition some of these holes into more parts than just 2 parts of size 1/2. So I'm going to make a nice long tape. And then just like we did in fraction folding, when we had our fractions and we wanted to fold them, what we did is we folded in half and we opened it up and we put our partition line there, right smack dab in the middle. So we're not measuring, but I'm going to guess this is about, I'm trying to be pretty precise, so I'm going to say that's about the middle. So I partitioned into 2 equal parts, and each unit fraction size is 1/2. So I'm asking you to shade in one of the pieces of size 1/2. That's what our numerator tells us, one of the pieces of size 1/2. All right. Now, let's go on to the next one. I would like you to go ahead and shade in 2/4. So go ahead and pause the video. Remember to make the same size hole because we might be doing some comparing. The same size hole. All right. Pause the video and go ahead, partition this hole into 2 equal parts of size 1/4 and shade in 2 of the 1/4. Now that you're back, just as we did with our fraction strips, we got really good at taking a whole fraction strip, folding it in half, and then many of you were realizing, oh, if I fold this in half again, I get 4 equal parts. 1/2 of a half is the size 1/4. Well, we're not folding here, but we can put our partition lines on there just in the same way. So what we did when we folded fractions is we folded them in half. So notice how I'm using this other same size hole to help me. And then 1/2 of a half is 1/4. So I need to take this half and partition it in half. This half, partition it in half. Now I have 4 equal sizes of 1/4. And then hopefully you know that we need to fill in 2 equal pieces of the size 1/4. 2 of the 1/4, 2/4. So I'm going to shade in 1/4 here. And 1/4 here. Okay. Let's go on and let's try shading in 3/8. Pause the video and go ahead, draw your same size hole, partition into 8 equal parts of size 1/8, and then shade in 3 of the 1/8. Okay, now it's time to check your work. So just like we did with the tape diagram, we folded that, with the fraction strip, we folded that in half and we had 2 halves, folded that in half again and we got 4/4, If I fold fourths in half again, I need to do this very carefully. We opened it up and we realized that we had 8 equal parts of size 1/8. So I hope you were thinking about that when you were doing your shading in on this hole. So I'm going to make the same size hole as close as I can. So I'm going to repeat the steps that we just did in fraction folding, although I'm going to draw them on my tape diagram. To make eighths, we folded in half, and then we folded our halves and half again to make fourths. And then each one of these fourths we folded in half again, and that made 8 pieces, 8 equal parts of size 1/8. All right. Now, 3/8 I need to shade in. So I'm going to shade in 3 pieces of 1/8. Here's 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. All right. Let's try one more. I'd like you to go ahead and make a tape diagram that shows 5/8. All right, go ahead and pause the video now and make your eighths. Okay, let's check your work. Again, same size hole. And to partition or to fraction fold our eighths, we folded our hole into half. And then our halves in half make fourths. And our fourths folded in half make 8 pieces of size 1/8. I'm going to label each unit fraction size. And then we need to shade in 5 of the pieces of size 1/8. We need to shade in 5/8. So I'm going to shade in 5/8. Whoops. 2, 3/8, 4/8. I have 5/8 shaded in. Okay. All right, I want you to look at your work today. What I'm going to ask you to do is to just compare these sizes, the fraction sizes. So what you're going to do is go on Seesaw. I have an activity for you to do. You can take a picture of your work, and then I want you audio taping yourself of what you noticed. Do you notice if there are any larger or greater fractions than other fractions? Do you notice if there are any smaller or fractions that take up less area or space than another one? Do you see any fractions that are equal, or as we call them in fractions, we call them equivalent? Equivalent fractions. So take a picture, then audio tape yourself talking about what you noticed between and among these fractions.